Bach musicians are celebrating their 21st season by performing one of Johann Sebastian Bach's most famous works.
Musicians from across the country are coming to Madison to perform St. Matthew's Passion next weekend at UW-Madison's Hamel Music Center. Trevor Stevenson is the artistic director of the Madison Bach musicians. Thanks for coming back with us.
Trevor,
it's my pleasure. It's good to see you.
This is quite the event.
It is. This is a difficult production to mount with double orchestra and double choir and all on period instruments, and even a children's choir, which Madison Youth Choirs will be providing for this. Bach really conceived of it, I think, as a spectacular piece written for his own church, and coming in at 2 hours and 45 minutes of music, which they would have done, and then, with a sermon in the middle, no less. So he wrote it in 1725. He premiered it at the church in 1727, and then he kept working on it and had a master score that he kept tweaking for another 8 or 9 years. He never published it. It just kind of sat there, and I think he trotted it out when the Good Friday occasion came along. It is a Good Friday piece.
For people who aren't familiar with the Madison Bach musicians, what's unique about, as you alluded to, you all play on period instruments.
Right.
17th and 18th century instruments?
Absolutely, and which means that all the string instruments are strung with gut. They're played with gut. The advantage of that is that when the bow moves, the pitch is into the air instantly, right? So they speak very, very quickly. They articulate easily. The bows really facilitate articulation, and all the wind instruments in this are also period instruments, which is even a trickier conversion for modern players. So these are people who play really pretty much nothing but the period wind instrument. You have to be a specialist. The advantage of them is like the Baroque oboe, which is maybe the most important in all of this for just the soul of the sound, is quite close to the human voice in its resonance and its warmth. Bach just lavished his greatest writing on the Baroque oboe, so they'll all be there. Plus, there's also the story is kind of carried by Matthew the Evangelist, who's a narrator who brings you into the action, and you actually get to witness, Jesus speaking with the disciples, the trial scene, betrayal, crucifixion. It's all done in, so it's like a movie, and yet Bach always pulls you back out of that and to an emotional response from like the soul of the congregation, the parishioners, and he goes back and forth 5 or 6 different angles of this. It's really, in some ways, it's like experimental theater, and it's still, I think, it's riveting in the way it's paced. It's quite irregular in its pacing, and it's always like sucking you into the next scene. He must have known it was his greatest. So
when you have such a historical piece like that, is there pressure to be as precise as you can, or can people have little flourishes? I always wonder about that.
There is some legend that Bach would raise a very discouraging eyebrow when his musicians would go too far in jazzing it up, as it was. But we know that they did, and it's just a question of what can you bring good taste to it. So of course there will be some of that just to keep it in the moment, keep it live, and keep it active. But the piece is so complex, even as it is. Literally just playing the notes he wrote is a tall order. So, we're so happy that Mark Dupaire from Appleton will be conducting this. He's a conductor at Lawrence University. Kyle Stiegel, who's really from Australia, is coming in for this to sing The Evangelist.
Wow, here's the information, just so you know. It's not this weekend, it's next weekend.
Right.
March 22nd and 23rd. There's a lecture before each concert, as you see there. 8 o'clock on Saturday night, 3:30 in the afternoon on Sunday at the beautiful UW-Madison Hamel Music Center. For information and to purchase tickets, go to madisonbachmusicians.org, and students get a discount.
There is a student discount. Tickets at the door or online, you can get them, and everything is at the website that you just mentioned.
Wonderful. Thank you for being on with us.
It's our pleasure.
Best of luck, Trevor. Enjoy it. Good to see you.